this could be a Champions League Final Four.
You better watch out for Melsungen.
If it's important in Barcelona, it is important everywhere.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again. Yes.
And Flensburg are the champions of Europe. For something here. What a game! Across the keeper. What a comeback!
Sweet, and then finally it is time to talk handball again, my friends. And while Martin is flying around the world, just going on vacation day to day, just kidding, he's actually the only one of us three that's actually working. We found the time to still be here, and I asked ChatGPT about some facts about Víctor Tomàs that I wouldn't know. And ChatGPT told me he's going jogging on a regular basis. He participates in multiple half marathons, and he plays paddle every 2 days. Is that true, Víctor Tomàs?
Really?
That's what ChatGPT. Yeah.
Well, it's quite accurate, actually.
Okay.
I'm not playing paddle every 2 days. Maybe it's every day. No, I'm just kidding. But it's quite accurate. Multiple half marathons, that means 2. Which is, it's multiple, but it's only 2.
True.
What was the first one?
Goes jogging on a regular basis. So basically that adds up with the half marathons.
Yes, that's.
So ChatGPT, are you listening? He only ran 2 half marathons, still 2 more than I have ever done, and actually 2 more than I am looking forward to making. But well, he's in his midlife crisis, and that's where you start running marathons, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in my 40s, so that's quite accurate too. Bengt GPT.
Yeah, something in that direction. But actually, to be fair, I checked the sources on one fact, and it led me to a Swedish engineer's LinkedIn page. That's why I would say not everything that ChatGPT states is always truly correct. But anyway, today is not about Swedish engineers, though. We've got 2 of the biggest European competitions to talk about. One is still further away, but we want to start with the draw of the EHF Euro that is just coming up next year. To be completely honest, we are recording on Thursday noon, and the draw will be just taking place tonight. But for us, we can just have a look at the pots. And Víctor, as a Spaniard, the Euro is still a quite sensitive topic. So I am going through the pots, and you can let me know which country of each pot you would want to avoid. So from each pot, only one nation.
Then let me stand up. Pick a pen and a paper, and I will do this much better.
Okay, fair enough. I am actually impressed that you found a pen and paper so quickly, because I definitely would have needed to search way longer. I never use pen and paper. I'm all digital. But good on you.
I'm 40. I'm 40. You know?
Yeah, true that. So running half marathons and knows where pen and paper lays. I think that's the definition of adulthood. Anyway, we're starting here with pot 1, and remember, only one name: France, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, Hungary, Slovenia. Shall I repeat it for you to write it down?
France, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, Slovenia,
and Hungary.
And Hungary. So I have to choose which one I want to avoid.
Yeah, and only one of that group.
As a Spanish guy.
As a Spaniard, yeah.
Okay. So should I go already, or you want to say all the pots and then...
Just give it to me directly.
Okay, Denmark.
So Denmark over France still?
Yes, I think so.
Even though they won the last Euro over Denmark, but I personally feel so too. So if there's a tournament and you have the ability to avoid Denmark, you would always want to avoid Denmark, right?
Yeah. The thing is that, okay, maybe you play with Denmark in the group phase, and then you go through and you don't have to play them again, which is also something nice. But yeah, let's go for Denmark.
But wouldn't it be a little risky to actually take a loss in the group stage? Because then there's only one more game that you need to lose, and it will end up being tough making it through.
It is, especially in the European Championships. It is quite tricky, but I'm staying with my pick. I would avoid Denmark from the pot one.
Understandable. I'm making you pick one out of pot 2 here too, even though Spain is in there. We have Portugal, Norway, Iceland, Croatia, Spain, and the Faroe Islands. I personally feel like that is the pot that is the most dangerous one. Of course, in pot 1, you know what you get. You get the absolute world class. But out of this pot, I'm actually a little bit confused who I would want to avoid.
Yes, it looks like that, but for me, it's quite clear and quite simple. We don't like to play against Croatia.
Okay, yeah. I feel like none of the top nations do. So Germany always has their problems against Croatia here as well. I remember last Euro it was a super tough game against Croatia, which Germany did end up losing, if I recall it correctly. We do have some history with some other nations there too. Portugal on the way up. I personally feel like Portugal can be very, very interesting the upcoming Euro with the Costa brothers and Luis Frade and everyone else around that. So have an eye out on Portugal. Yeah, I can't even tell who would be the easiest one out of that group, because the Faroe Islands with 10% of the population coming around, it's crazy.
Yes. I think that, so I wish that everybody understands me well. I think Croatia, from all this, it's good that we are in the same pot because we're not going to play against any of them. But
yet,
Croatia, from all these countries, I think it's the worst one for Spain. All these countries that you just said can win in a single game against Spain. Yes, they can. I think that the country that it's a little bit one step back of Spain, it's Faroe Island, because of the history and the youth of the team. They are very young, this team is very young. They showed already they can compete in a very high level, because now they have a lot of players playing in good leagues. But Croatia, no doubt.
Yeah, and I mean, they did end up being established in the European elite already. So having qualified again for the men's Euro 2026, and then just looking forward or looking even further and saying, well, they are already in pot number 2. That means they're always in danger. And I feel like this is the threshold that Ica Romero talked about last week when we talked to him about the strength of Europe just getting closer and closer, even behind Spain. Denmark and France, sorry. Out of those 12 teams, taking out France and Denmark, everyone can beat anybody on a single day. So very, very interesting. What does it do to you personally to see Spain in pot 2?
Yeah, it's okay. I think that pot 3, then that would be worst. Of course, I think that Spain belong to pot 1. That's my honest opinion. But this is a sport, everybody's getting ready, everybody's competing, everybody's growing, everybody's preparing the games. So I don't think it's a big drama.
Yeah, especially since the last years just didn't entirely give it away for Spain to be in that pot number 1. But if there's one thing for sure, you can never rule out Spain when there's a big competition being blown off or being taking place. Cool, and then we move over to pot number 3. Names are getting smaller, but who are you avoiding? Austria, Netherlands, Montenegro, Czechia, Poland, North Macedonia.
Austria, Netherlands, Montenegro, Czechia, Czech Republic, Poland, North Macedonia. I would say that's hard.
Is it between Austria and Netherlands for you too?
Yes, it is. I'm going to say Austria.
Yeah, and Austria actually just made their way there, isn't it? So a couple of years ago, one would have said, yeah, well, just look at the Dutch squad. They have their internationals just, all around Europe and distributed all around Europe. And Austria was a rather empty sheet, but now they definitely made their name with Möstlin goal, with Mikola Bilic and all their players that we talked a lot about at the last Euro. It's an interesting one, but Netherlands, maybe they will be back there too. So what's your read on Netherlands?
No, Netherlands, I think that when they have a healthy squad, they are a really dangerous team. They play fast. They have all kind of players that can score from far away. Players like, of course, we all know Luc Steins, the way he plays, and I think Netherlands, it's a quite dangerous team if they are all healthy. You know, as we all said, these kind of championships, it depends a lot on your physical condition. And a country like Netherlands, they have like 8, 9, 10 players. I think they are in the top level, but the rest of the squad, it's a very good level. And if they don't perform at their very best, and they cannot use all the depth of the squad, it's very, very difficult for teams like Netherlands to advance until semifinals or something like that. But it's a good team, of course, with a good players playing in good leagues, and a team that can win against everyone.
I feel like an analogy for the club level would be Füchse Berlin, but on a lower level. So Füchse Berlin, as we talked with Stefan Kretschmer and Bob Hanning, that they are always aiming for the best starting 7, and behind you just see what you can fill it up with. Of course, it's a different topic for a club team than on a national level, but if you just look at the starting 7 of the Netherlands, then you would say, oh, wow. If they would play Champions League, a semifinal would be in there, that is for sure. But yeah, after it gets a little harder.
Maybe they can contact Stefan Kretschmer for the physical condition coach contact, and you know, hire him for the Euro.
Would be an idea.
The way Berlin is performing in the physical condition basis, it's crazy. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. But we have another pot to look at, and I want to hear from you. Georgia, Serbia, Switzerland, Romania, Ukraine, and Italy. I feel like there's a clear answer from you.
So it's Georgia, Serbia, Switzerland, Romania,
Ukraine, and Italy.
Georgia, Serbia, Switzerland, Romania. I think in this spot I would avoid Serbia.
Oh, Serbia over Italy still, because Italy is still an up-and-coming nation. Yeah,
I think Serbia at this moment is a more dangerous team for Spain.
Okay, yeah, interesting. But I do understand. And on the other side, you can never underestimate each of these teams. So Georgia, they did have their shining moments at the Euro 2 already. Switzerland, we don't need to talk about that. They are a small handball nation, but always capable of, competing with the big ones. And then on the other side, Italy. Well, I've got something in the pipe for you there. We did talk to Bob Hanning already, and we will publish that at some point where we will, talk with him about the very interesting Italy project. Let's see, how long do you think will Italy stay in pot 4?
That's a big guess. It's something I cannot talk about with any basis. I actually don't know how the young teams of Italy are doing and how the new generations are growing there. So, of course, Italy now, what they have to try to do is to take advantage of their momentum, grow the sport in the country, which is very important, that the young people is playing handball, is willing to play handball. So yeah, I think it's very good for the handball map in the world that new nations are coming strong like Italy is doing now.
Yeah, definitely. So the momentum is on their side, and they did leave their first landmark. So people do know about Italy by now. And well, let's see what Bob Hanning can get out of that squad. Maybe there's a main round waiting for them, but we will see. We will see. It's still a good time to go until the Euro. That's why I would say so far about the Euro draw. You can see all the results at ehfeuro.eurohandball.com. And that's where I would say we're switching the domain from ehfeuro.eurohandball.com. We're going over to ehfel.eurohandball.com because it's time for the EHF finals, which are played in the Barclays Arena in Hamburg this year. Let's at first look a little bit at the circumstances. For you personally, have you ever got the chance to experience Hamburg a little bit, apart from the handball arena?
Just a little bit, because I have one player playing in the club there, and I visited him this season, but it was a very, very short period of time.
I can highly recommend Hamburg just to go out, experience the city a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful harbor. And you can even go to the Elbphilharmonie, that very expensive new building that they built just right next to the Elbe a couple of years ago, but it's so beautiful. And you can actually go up there for free if you plan your trip a little ahead. So I can highly recommend that for everyone. Go into Hamburg. It's a lovely city. And, well, I'm personally from Kiel, but Hamburg isn't that far. So you do get to experience it every now and then. Great for shopping, but great for handball too. And we're hoping to see HSV Hamburg being back at some point, but they are still recovering after everything that happened just some time ago. Still, 3 German teams go to Hamburg with us, with Melsungen, Kiel, and Flensburg. The arena is going to be exploding again, eh?
Yes, this could be a Champions League Final Four, actually. Melsungen, I think it's the only team that doesn't have, let's say, the history. But if you go through the squad, and the way they have been performing in the Bundesliga, especially in the first half of the season, maybe we can see them next season in the Champions League. So I think it's a top level Final Four of the European League, with 4 super strong clubs and teams, and I think it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I mean, there are some storylines in there which we are going to go through in a bit here too. But yeah, as of now, Melsungen is on the 2nd spot in the Handball-Bundesliga. And that's why, yeah, people that are interested in the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League, they could lay an eye on this year's EHF finals, because maybe we see the Melsungen premiere next year in the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League. The other 3 teams, they were actually already able to lift the Champions League trophy in their past. Most recently, it was Kiel, of course. But yeah, out of those 4 very, very strong teams, who do you see as the favorite?
It's hard to see. It's hard to say. I would say Kiel, in my opinion. It's just a feeling, actually. The way I think Kiel, they struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, but my feeling now when I see them playing, it's that they found themselves again, and I don't know, it's just a feeling. I'm here to play, so I will say Kiel.
Yeah, fair enough. I do feel like they will go in as the favorites too, even though it's almost, and that is crazy to say, with Kiel being in the EHF finals and just having won the domestic cup, so the DHB Pokal. But still, they go in, and it seems to be a tough time to be a Kiel fan. So they are on their way to back miss the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League. Last year they didn't qualify. Right now they are only in the 6th spot in the Bundesliga, and it's nearly impossible to actually still make it into the top 2 because of Füchse Berlin, Melsungen and Magdeburg. But yeah, on the other hand, they had that kind of season despite the Wolf comeback in goal. So yeah, what would you say? How tough is it to be a Kiel fan at this point?
That's a hard one. Maybe you can answer much better than me this one, because you're a Kiel guy and you know socially, and culturally what it means handball for the town of Kiel. Yeah. For my experience going there and playing for many years, I think that the expectations of Kiel are always the highest ones. I think that at the beginning of the season there is 2 teams in handball that they are only losing championships. They are not winning, and those teams are Barcelona and Kiel, because everybody expects them to win absolutely everything. So I think it's good that the fans have this feeling, because that means everybody expects a lot from Kiel, and I think that they show with the time that they are solid enough as a club to be there, to be considered as the winner of everything at the beginning of every season. But I think it's the moment when the fans has to show the support the most, because the team feel the town, and the team feel the people and the fans and the arena and everything. And this has to be something they can do together, to rise up a little bit in the German Bundesliga and try to get the best possible qualification for this season in the league, and to be playing in the European competitions next season, because Kiel, it's where Kiel belongs, in European competitions.
Yeah, and I personally would say that Kiel belongs into the top flight of European competitions, which would be the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League. And I mean, you're absolutely right about what handball is meaning to Kiel. Super interesting out of the Kiel bubble at the moment, because there is a football club in Kiel too, and Kiel is just a smaller city in Germany with 250-ish thousand people, and to have 2 teams in the top flights competitions of the whole country is actually something big for Kiel. But the football team got relegated again, what is no big deal, and still, even though they made it to the Bundesliga, the focus in Kiel was handball all day and all night. So of course it was nice to have a football team in the top flight too. But in the end, when you don't play Champions League, it's not a good sporty year for Kiel, and that's why I would say it's the last thing that they need to achieve to kind of somehow save the season, because as I just said, they ended up in the 6th, or they are currently in the 6th spot in the Bundesliga, but way behind and just not able to come back. On the other hand, Kiel did focus on their future already, with the Wolf coming back, with Perez de Vargas coming in from Barcelona just in summer. I probably think that he didn't come over from Barca to Kiel to play European League, did he?
No, of course not. Of course not. But this is something as a player you can't control. When you sign for another club, you have to go there, do your thing, and try to help the team in whatever you can help the team. Gonzalo is what he's going to do. He's going to also give his know-how and his expertise in the locker room with some young players that Kiel has, and I'm sure that Kiel is gonna be back in Champions League in the next few years. So of course Gonzalo will go there. He will support the team in everything he can on and off the playing court, and I'm sure that Kiel will be back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they did have a look at what went wrong last year, because even though they were in the Truckscout 24 EHF Final 4 last year, one looked at the Kiel season and one was not entirely happy with it. So an early exit in the DHB Pokal, not the result they aimed for in the Bundesliga, and it wasn't even a super great season in the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League, yet they still made it to Cologne, where they ended up beating Magdeburg in the small final, so in the bronze medal match. And I mean, we did look at what was missing in Kiel. So I had a look at the backcourt with two very, very young players in their main axis, with Erik Johansson, Elias Ellefsen, Skipa Goethe. And now Madsen joined from GOG, and you have a backcourt with Erik Johansson, who is a little more experienced now. Madsen, Skipa Goethe, Bielek, Reinkind, and Dule. Where do you rank this THW Kiel backcourt, Víctor?
I should know what are the levels where to put them, but I rank them as a top backcourt. I think Elias, it's a top player. He showed us that in Sävehof and with the national team, and also in Bundesliga. But I think that he needs to be a little bit more calm sometimes, and to give more value to every ball. Every ball that you lose in top games that Kiel can play, it's important. Erik Johansson, top shooter, top player. Harald Renkin as well. Dule, we don't have anything to talk about Dule. We know everything about him. I think he's a leader that every club and every national team wants to have. Who am I missing now? Bielek, a player that when it's healthy, it's just amazing the way he's been healthy now for some time, but I think it's a top backcourt.
Cool. So, I mean, that is a good sign for Kiel. And as you said, you are sure that they're going to bounce back and be back in the top flight. And I do think so, too. We didn't talk about the wingers yet. And there's still players like Hendrik Pekela, Wiencheck, and stuff like that. So international class is for sure. That's why they went through this EHF European League season with 2 draws and 0 losses, I think, in the entire flight. So when it comes down to international opponents, they are for sure the favorites. But if we're looking at the other 2 teams that made it to Hamburg, SG Flensburg Handewitt and MT Melsungen, they lost all matchups in the Bundesliga, and the only game that they were able to win this year was against Melsungen in the Pokal quarterfinal, I think. So in the DHB Cup quarterfinal against Melsungen. So if we're looking at those 3 opponents that they have, Kiel still the favorites, because the Flensburg and Melsungen have shown that they are capable of beating Kiel.
Yeah, they are capable of beating Kiel. But playing in the league or playing in a game that it's do or die, it's different. I would still go with Kiel, but of course, everything can happen. Yes, I would stick to Kiel. In Kiel showed that in the Pokal they won against Melsungen in the semifinal, I think it was. Okay. But I'm not sure if it was semifinal or the final.
The Pokal was the final, actually.
Final,
I think they
okay.
had by Neckar-Löwen in the semifinal.
Yeah. So, of course, it's a humble game. It's a lot of things that can happen and cannot be controlled. But I don't know. It's just a feeling, I feel that Kiel is arriving in a okay moment for them.
Yeah, I would say so too. But then, yeah, I feel like they are the team that needs the cup the most. So they will be burning, and they need their 7 lions on the court with an 8th lion just in their back with a white wall. But on the other hand, it's the only way, I would say, to save the season somehow. And that is kind of strange, because they do already have 1 cup in their backpack already with the DHB Pokal. But on the other hand, if you don't qualify for the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League, it can never be considered a good season in Kiel. So I would say even if they end up winning the EHF European League, it will still maximum be a B- in school grades. What would you say?
Yeah, I know what you talk about. That means that the Bundesliga is so difficult, so strong. That means, as we said, that the expectation of Kiel is always to be up there, and that is showing to everybody that even though they could win this European League, and they have already the Pokal of this season, how difficult it is as a player and as a coach to be in Kiel, because it's a way of talking, but you don't realize how heavy is the Kiel t-shirt playing kid until you wear it. It's so heavy, so all my respect to all the players and staff. Of course, if they don't qualify for the Champions League, it's not the best season. But still, if they would win the Pokal and the European League, I would qualify the season as a good one.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So one last chance for Kiel to actually go and save this season. But that's where we're switching it over to their opponents, who still know Kiel quite well. Out of last year's quarterfinal in the Maschinensucher EHF Champions League, it was one for the history books, with Kiel losing the first game by 9 goals. I think it was a 30-39, just to bounce back on home soil with a 31-21 in regular time. So Kiel did end up turning that one around, and Montpellier is very ready to take their revenge on Kiel. So what do you think? A year later, a year after that game, what can Montpellier still take out of that game? What learnings can they still pull out of the game, out of the matchup from last year?
Well, it's hard to say, because the last playoff they played, it was a double game, playing away and home, and this is as we said, do or die. So
on neutral soil.
Neutral. On neutral.
80-20 pro Kiel, but still technically neutral soil.
Yeah, exactly. If they would play in Paris, we would say neutral as well, but it's not,
Yeah.
Especially in indoor sports, where the atmosphere is so important. I would say that Montpellier, they have a very difficult task there, but they can do it, They have some players injured. Montpellier is always struggling with injuries. We have both, let's say, starting wings, Yanis Len and Lucas Pelas, injured on their Achilles. I think Kylian Villemino is also injured, long-term injury. So they have some important injuries in the squad, but still they have the power to win against everybody in a single game.
Yeah, and I mean, they... you want to add on that? No.
Yeah, one of the learnings, as you asked, is Kiel is always Kiel, and
never right off Kiel.
I remember that right before this playoff, we had an interview with Stash Skube. He said, it's not done.
Yeah.
So I think that the game is going to be very, very long, and even though Montpellier can be leading, and 5 minutes left on the clock, leading by 3, they have to be pushing all the time if they want to win.
Yeah, game is never over with the Zebras on the court. That is for sure. But on the other hand, Montpellier is once again playing a great season. So right now, second place in the French league, but they do have Nantes in their neck. I think it's only 1 point they are ahead, while they are still having played 2 more games. So Nantes is still in the pole position, and the first game after Hamburg for Montpellier will be against Paris Saint-Germain. So how much depends on this EHF finals for Montpellier? What would you say?
Yeah, Montpellier, one of the big goals for next season is to be again in the Champions League and to win the French Cup, which they are going to play against Paris, as you said. in a neutral soil, which will be Paris. But yeah, for Montpellier, it's important this championship. Even though they are in the position to win another championship, which is the cap, and of course the league is not finished, but I think Paris is quite favorite. But Montpellier, I would say for them it's super important, this competition, because every title in Europe, it makes the club even greater and bigger. And honestly, I think it's good for handball that sometimes this competition, not a German team is winning, because if we look at the history of this competition, the last 20 years, maybe it's 15 times a German
At
team
least,
it's the winner. So honestly, it's also good for handball that another teams away of Germany can win this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be something. It would be a big upset, but would be nice to not have a German final at some point once again too. So not too long ago, I think it was Granollers who actually made it to the final. And yeah, it's always great if the internationals bring their fans along, and there are still some open tickets, I guess, in the Montpellier corner. So if you're listening from France and be like, oh well, 24th and 25th of May, I've still got some spare time, you can still grab your tickets, because Montpellier definitely needs the support from the fans, and they do deserve it this year, because we have looked down the table, but of course we can still look up. It's only 4 points until Paris Saint-Germain, and they still got the direct encounter left. So everything between a semi-final exit and missing the Champions League next season until becoming French champions and European League champions, everything is still possible for Montpellier. Where will they end up? What's your guess?
Oh, it's oh my God, you're putting me in a lot of problems in this episode.
Yeah. That's what you get when just being alone with me. I would say, why not? They are gonna win one of two. That's a bold call, actually. That's a bold call. But why not? We're
let's
looking
go
forward
50-50, you know.
yeah. Fair enough.
But it's to be honest and fair, it's just guessing in the air, you know, because I think that the equality that there are in these stages, it makes everything possible. In this stage of the season, Montpellier has been working very good through the whole season to put themselves in this position at this moment of the season. So it would be not fair to rate the season if they win or not 1 or 2 or 0 competitions, because actually the work is the same, you know. And I think that the work that they have been doing is very good.
Yeah, I do think so too. So yeah, we will see where they will end up. Definitely a good thing that they are in there, and that it's going to be an epic match against Kiel, because I don't think that this time there will be a 9-goal difference between the teams in whatever direction. So I do see them on level terms with Kiel. They're no slightly ahead of Montpellier, but will be an interesting one. Let's switch over to the other semifinal, because you better watch out for Melsungen. You just dropped it in the beginning of the podcast, or in the beginning of our European League talks, that Melsungen is on their way up. So right now, second Champions League spot, and on level points with Füchse Berlin in the lead of the table. So yeah, it is the constant amelioration of MT Melsungen that they had throughout the last years. In Germany, there is opinions about Melsungen because of their financial background and stuff like that. How is Melsungen seen internationally?
I don't think that people has this knowledge about the club and having a big company behind them supporting in the financial way or aspect. everybody knew Melsungen before as a team that has a big budget, but arguably they don't spend it well enough. I think that since Roberto arrived there, it was very smart from the club to give Roberto full power to decide who he wants to sign, to make his team his way, to let him change the way of playing, to have the patience to maybe first season not the best results ever, but every change needs some time. And the Spanish system, the Spanish style with Eric Valenciaga, it's not easy for some players to adapt. And I think that if we have seen a good Melsungen this season, wait for the next one. I think that the next one is going to be even better. So I think that from the outside, Melsungen is seen as a team with a lot of potential that until now they couldn't reach these stages of the competitions, but that right now they have a really good coach, and they are a team that hopefully we can see them on these competitions, on these stages of the competitions for a long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are manifesting their position in Germany over the last couple of years, that's for sure. And I mean, you did talk about a change in their transfer philosophy. So they were known to blow a lot of money and still just end up in the midfield. But now, for example, just to name one name, Ian Barufet, he actually came from Barcelona. What does that say about their squad structure right now?
Well, it says that they have two left wings that they can play in defense in number 5. Normally, they say in Germany, because they need this spot in defense, the number 6, which is the right wing position for the playmaker, for Eric Valenciaga, to be able to run in the fast break, but still don't make a change and keep him in defense in this spot of the defense. So what I see now in Melsungen is that when they sign a new player, it's because there is a plan behind it, So this agreement that they had with Barufet, it surprised to everybody, but Roberto, because Ian Barufet, the ones who have been following him, we knew he had something special. Of course, he's giving performances that are blowing me because he's really young, and I was not expecting that level at this age.
I think 86 goals in the international competition right now.
Yeah, but I knew that he was a special player.
Yeah, it's interesting because that is not just the handwriting of Roberto Garcia Parrondo, just the coach from MT Melsungen.
Parrondo.
Yes. Discúlpame,
Roberto Garcia Parrondo.
Just like that.
Just say it without looking that you're joking, Roberto Garcia Parrondo.
Okay. Roberto Garcia Parrondo. Better?
Yeah, okay, better. Okay.
That was one for the ASMR listeners here. But actually, there is a new position since 23, since late summer 23, I think it was, when Michael Allendorf actually took over as a sports director, a position that hasn't been there yet in Melsungen. And he now works together with Roberto Garcia. And before he was the sports director, he wore the jersey of Melsungen for an eternity. So there starts to be a little bit of that loyalty to a club. In Germany, we say Stallgeruch, the odor of the club that is just being pushed throughout the entire team. How important is this that identification with the club in the long-term success of Melsungen?
Yeah, maybe we could have an interview with him and ask him, I think it's important that the players that are coming to a new club, they can feel what's the culture of this club and what it means to be a player of this club for the town. and to culturally get to know what it means, these colors, for the region, for the town. So I think it's important that a guy like him is in the club. He is probably receiving the players, talking with them, and having now and then some meetings with the players. And I think it's important because, as you said, I'm thinking about Barcelona, and I think it's important that the players know what Barcelona means for people, So I think if it's important in Barcelona, it is important everywhere.
Yeah. The one thing that is important in Barcelona too is that they know how to play big finals. I'm just really looking for that transition over to my next question, because that is the one thing that I feel like Melsungen is actually missing. So of course on the international stage, I think the best thing that they ever achieved was a quarterfinal. They haven't played a semifinal yet, and in the Pokal they made it back to back into the final, but there they lost it. So do you reckon the lack of experience in those moments can be a puzzle piece? But I mean, just lately, the last 2 years, at least they did go to a Final Four.
It can be a weakness, but it also can be a strength. The hunger, we in sports, we always talk about the hunger, and I think that these players with this club, they have a hunger of winning trophies. They want to give Melsungen the trophy. So I see it more as a strength at this moment, because I think that they have enough experienced players to be able to manage this kind of nerves that you have when you are in the final. But of course, they also have injuries, and a very important one in the goalkeeper position. Let's see how they are dealing with it, because normally Moravsky, it's a goalkeeper that he showed already what he can do, but in these stages of the competitions, in an important weekend, and sometimes you don't have a good 15 minutes, and just to change something, you need a replacement. So I think this is a handicap for Melsungen as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the one that they did bring in there is Carsten Lichtlein, not an unknown name in the handball world, I hope. But yeah.
No, but of course he's been playing already some games, but as a retired player, of course he can go in, and his character and everything, he can give some momentum to the team, but it's still a player who has been retired for how many years?
Yeah, true that.
So
I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, me neither, but more than 2.
Fair enough. More than the amount of half marathons that Víctor Tomàs has run in his life.
Multiple years, let's say.
Multiple years. He's been gone for multiple years, that is for sure. But apart from that, Balenciaga, Christopans, Kastening, Lichtlein, Mensing, that doesn't sound too bad at all. So Flensburg definitely will be prepared, and we do know what's Melsungen is capable of. And I know it's not the same squad anymore as back in the days when you faced Flensburg, but still, you had some encounters against them. You have been broken by Flensburg sometimes. You did break Flensburg sometimes too. What is so special about SG Flensburg Handewitt?
I think they have a very close relationship with Denmark.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Just 2 centimeters away from the border.
Yes. Flensburg is history of handball as well. I think one of the things that it's amazing me of Germany is that how can they small towns like Flensburg or Kiel, how can they create such a big clubs and establish them in the elite of a very challenging sport like handball? So Flensburg is a very, very special place, which is always, it's also important as a player to understand the culture, because I've been there as a player and I've been there also as a spectator, and a lot of people is Danish actually, and that they are supporting a German team with a lot of Danish players. So I think that Flensburg is a team that has to be up there forever, because I love the way they have built up the club, and they established the club in the elite of handball, and I think it's just a club that has to be there forever.
But I mean, they are working on being there forever. Extended Püttlik, extended Lasse Möller. Now Grigic is coming in the next season. He's an upcoming German international. And now I think they do have 5 very, very strong right-handers in that backcourt for just 2 positions there. So is that really the position that Flensburg needed to screw on?
That's a good one. Yeah, I think that the backcourt positions, it's important to have a very complete squad, because it's where everything is happening. It's happening, we would have to add the line player and the goalkeeper position, which I think that in the line at this moment they have one of the best duos that we can see in handball.
Arguably and in the best line player in the world right now.
Sorry?
Arguably the best line player in the world right now. With arguably,
yes. Yeah. Arguably the best right now, and arguably the best in a few years with Jorgensen. So, at your question, yes, why not? If they have the financial muscle to do it, I think they are investing in the future. They have a lot of knowledge behind all these decisions with Ljubo and Glandorf, and of course I'm sure working with the staff, which right now is Ales Pajovic and Anders Egert, which he will be going to Kolding next season as a head coach. But yes, I would say that if they have the financial power, why not sign all these great players to secure the future of the club?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you did talk about the line players already. That's where I wanted to shift it to right now, because they will end up needing to replace Johannes Goller. I personally would say that you can never replace a Johannes Goller when talking about a working handball team. But you say with Jürgensen, the future is in safe hands already?
Yes. As a Barca fan, we thought as well that the replacement of Ludovic Fabregas would be traumatic. And then Luis Frade showed to everybody that it was not that much, Of course, losing a player like Gola is always bad news. But I think that there is players in the market that Flensburg has the capacity to bring in that can do the job. So we know that in this business, players are leaving and going and coming. But I think that Flensburg will work in this direction, and they will bring in some good players.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, looking at Johannes Goller, he's returning to the semifinals opponent, so to the place where he became pro, to Melsungen. I think that both of us are the wrong ones to relate to that situation. You, because you always stayed in Barcelona, but there has to have been someone in your squad that has actually been facing his future club. It must be a strange game, right?
Not that much, actually, because you are so focused on the present day, and I'm sure that if we would ask Johannes Goller at this moment, he would say, I don't even think about next season, because...
And I even think it's the season after next season, so he is joining in summer 26.
Yeah, so the daily life and the daily trainings and competition, it's not letting you to think on the future,
Yeah.
He knows that this is going to happen, but at this moment there is no friends in the playing court, even though you play against your future team.
I would say.
And now in handball, the last years we have seen this situation in many times.
Yeah.
So I think that it's getting less and less strange for players to be in that position.
Fair enough, but that leads us over to time to predict, because it is the semifinals of the EHF European League. We have 2 great semifinals waiting for us, and I'm asking you, Víctor, Tomàs, Kiel against Montpellier, who is going through?
Yeah, if I said that Kiel is favorite, I have to say Kiel.
But you said that Montpellier will win 1 trophy, so...
Yeah, maybe it's against Paris in the French Cup. Let's see.
Okay, we'll see. I'm gonna go for Kiel. I gotta keep the Kiel flag up here too, because I do feel like they are the ones that need this trophy the most to save their season, and they will be just burning on the court. And then next semifinal is Melsungen against Flensburg, and I do have a slight feeling that we are gonna disagree here.
I'm gonna go for Flensburg.
Just like I thought, I'm going to go with Melsungen. So I think we are going to relive the Pokal final, and you are thinking that we get the Northern Derby of Germany in Hamburg. And both storylines would be amazing. And eventually, who's winning?
Kiel. Yeah, I'm going to stick to my prediction.
Cool. Yeah, same here. Can't give you any counterparts here, but most definitely it will be a super interesting and super amazing EHF finals that are being played 24th and 25th of May. You guys can still go out there and grab your tickets at ehfel.eurohandball.com. And apart from that, we will hear each other again next week already, because it's time for the next lookout. We will be on our way to Budapest, but ahead of time, of course, we are gonna have a little lookout on what's gonna happen in the EHF Champions League Women and the EHF Final Four there too. Until then, thanks Víctor, thanks for your time, and
thank you, my man.
Thank you guys out there for tuning in, and we'll hear each other again next week when it's time to talk handball again, everybody.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again. Yes.